Just make sure my computer doesn't die while we're doing this. That would be terrible.
All right, we are live. Welcome to anyone watching / listening to the first postseason deep dive interview for Can You Survive Charity Event 2021. I am Brandon, and I am the guest host, I guess, for this podcast. First, I want to say thank you to the LRG hosts for letting us host our own post-game interviews. Thank you for letting us use your platform. So I'm the host of the Can You Survive charity event, and again, the guest host for this interview tonight. And tonight, with our first interview, we have Kadie and Alan, our big secret couple from our event this summer. So thank you for being here, Kadie and Alan.
We're excited.
Thank you. Very excited. Good to see you again, Brandon.
I know. Good to see you guys too. I feel like it's been forever, but it's only been like 3 weeks.
That's crazy.
Right? Like leading up to the event, I was like, oh my God, every single day was taking forever to get to the event. And now I'm like, oh my God, it's already been like so much time.
So wild. Weird to say that I missed the woods. I would do anything to get back into the woods, which I thought I would never say. So
yeah,
that's your game.
I haven't had that thought, but
I've had it for you.
Okay, great. Even after living at Pink Camp, you're like, let's go back.
Pink Camp was a dream. It was the best.
Okay.
Well, because of the social stuff that happened there, but
right, not because of
not
the
technically the best.
Right.
Green was bougie. Green had it bougie.
Yeah, Alan, you had it real nice.
You know, it was nice being on a tribe that was winning, underestimated. We kind of always put ourselves in the right spots. Everyone knew their strengths. We avoided everyone's weaknesses and really kind of found a real rhythm with ourselves for a couple days. So it was nice to kind of have a nice camp, the pillows, the sandwiches. You know, it was nice to kind of live a life there on the in Survival.
Yeah.
Sounds so lovely, Alan.
Yeah, that's exactly what everyone wants to hear, is just how much Green like succeeded the whole weekend. So I guess going back to the beginning, what made you want to apply and play the game together in the first place?
Do you want to go, babe?
You first.
So I think that over the pandemic, Alan and I discovered this world of online gaming, and we were like, oh, we have nothing else to do. Let's see what this is about. We love the show Survivor, so we played in just a very few online games, and then we were like, wait, they do this live? That's so cool. And we heard about your game, and we were like, we should do a couple twists. Let's apply as a couple, interview, and then you let us interview together, which was awesome. And we were like, if this works out, we're going to have to hardcore scheme and figure out a way to both make merch, which obviously didn't happen, so that we can play together. And it was really fun.
Yeah, so, I mean, when you applied as the couple, and you had no idea that, like, I've hosted online for so long, and I love a secret couple. I've done it a few times online. It's never worked out. So when you two applied, I was like, oh, it didn't work out again.
Hoping to change that, but whatever, we can't do it all.
So before the game even started, you guys kind of had to strategize because Kadie, you played a different game 2 weeks prior, and Alan, you were there to watch, and you were both sending me messages like, oh, we have to do this strategy now, just in case someone sees us. What was going through your head? I know what was going through your head, but what was going through your head on the drive to Survival Challenge when you thought, oh my God, we have to start strategizing now?
Yeah, so, you know, on the way there, we knew we wanted to keep our, you know, marriage a secret the whole time. As long as we possibly could, I wanted to keep it a secret. And so on the way up, we knew if someone asks us about it, they're not asking because they think they know something. They're asking because they actually know it, and they're going to see if we're lying. So in the car, we were saying, if someone asks, Let's come out and tell the truth. Say it, don't lie about it. And try to use it to our advantage. Say, you know what, we're numbers now, but this is an individual game. And I told Kadie, I would vote you out if that meant me getting to the finals. And I knew she would do the same to me. But of course, we would, the end game was for us to make it all the way to the end, to the final three, if not final two share. So that was kind of our strategy going in. And we knew we were going to be on separate tribes. We knew socially we would be okay. We would make sure we're in decent spots within our tribe. And so we were hoping at least a merge where we could link up, and we were this close. I think I stepped away for a second and just kind of prayed to the merge gods, like, please, just let me be with Kadie. Let me play this game with Kadie. And it didn't pan out, but we were that close.
So the complicated thing was, when I was playing Survival Challenge, I'd heard rumors that there might be someone that's overlapping in both games. And I'm like, oh gosh. So from the get-go, I was like, Alan, double mask, we're in a pandemic, sunglasses, you're in disguise, cheer me on in disguise. And then by like day 2 of Survivor Challenge, it was hot, he wanted to cheer me on. I saw the mask go down. I had figured out who was going to be playing in both games, that being Stephanie. And I was like, all right, she knows. We were on the same tribe in Survival Challenge. So when I found that out, I just kind of shared with her, that's what it is. My husband's going to be at that game, because I knew the jig was up, and it was better to be honest than be a snake, as some people like to call me, which I'll defend later.
I loved
the best thing. Oh, I'm so sorry about that. Sorry.
Oh no, that's okay. I was just gonna say I loved postseason. People were calling you a snake, and you even had the snake pants. So it worked out.
Definitely.
I was gonna say, and the ties go much deeper with Stephanie too. She played in an online reality game season that I played in. So we kind of had some ties, and Kadie also played in a separate season as well in this same online reality game. So our ties were kind of deep, and
a different
every time,
season, but the same group.
Right. We never played together, but we met, through that community. So every time we kind of passed, maybe on our way to get water or just walking, I'd always shoot her a glance and give her a smile and let her know, like, hey, like, when we're together, and let's go. Like, I was ready to start working with Stephanie, and I know Kadie was too.
Mm-hmm.
Now, going into the game, I obviously knew about all of the Stephanie situation with you two. And I was like, Stephanie has the upper hand in this. Like, I was fully expecting, like, she could tell anyone she wanted about you two being a couple. I don't think she ever told anybody, so she never actually had to use the information against you. But going into the game, I was like, ooh, Stephanie is going to do really well in this game, just based on she has that information that no one else has.
She also had the upper hand slightly, because in Survival Challenge, we were on the same tribe, and it was kind of similar to the Pink situation, my original tribe there, where we kept losing. So we were having to vote off person after person. And at one point we went to tribal, and the other tribes got to pick someone on our side to keep safe. And they picked the person that we were planning on voting out at that time. So at that tribal, the vote turned to Stephanie, and it was heartbreaking. I did not want to vote her out. I wanted to keep working with her. And there was no other option at that point. And so I voted her out way too early in that game, and I felt terrible about it. And I know everyone says new game, and I respect that, and I'm there for it. And people are people, and we might forgive, but we never forget. So that was complicated going into that, and her having the information that we were married. I had to tread lightly. And as a person, me and Stephanie are 100%, but she's a gamer too, and she loves this stuff, and she wasn't going to let me off the hook, and I knew that. So it was complicated for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
Game wise, Stephanie and I would have clicked instantly. I was so bummed we didn't get to work together either.
I know the three of you never really, I mean, Kadie, you met Steph for like 2 rounds, but otherwise you three really never came together during the season. So it was a lot of missed opportunities. Now, starting day 1 of CYS, you're checking in. Fun fact, we planned check-ins around you two. Like, we planned how we were checking in. We planned everything around you two checking in and not getting caught. So
thank you. That was awesome.
but because originally everyone was going to stand in the circle in front of the woods, it was going to be up where you park. And I was like, no, that can't happen. We can't do that. But anyway, you almost get caught anyway. So moments into the game, Rob shows up right after you and almost catches you. So walk us through what was going on there.
I am like very excited, but slightly anxious to like spend the next 3 days in the woods, apart away from Alan and hiding that, and then away from our son. And when we're at Survival Challenge, I could look over at Alan and he could let me know like Quinn's good, you're good. This was totally different because I had no communication with my son, and that was hard. So I'm about to get dressed and like give Alan a kiss and like talk myself down from like being concerned and missing Quinn, and we see a car pull up and I'm like, love you, bye, bye, bye. And I jump out and I'm like, oh, what a way to start the game. Like, bye, Alan. See you hopefully at Merge or not, who knows. So it was definitely really hard to have that moment, and that game was on before anyone else's game was on, I feel like. So
Yeah, it was a very, very rushed moment. I wasn't even changed yet. I still had to get my stuff ready, get my stuff in a bag. It was a very, very, insane and instant way to get shoved into this game. Even as I'm on the side getting changed. It was wild. It was wild.
Yeah, it was definitely like a quick start for you two. So then we start the game, and so how we're gonna do this is I'm gonna talk individual games just so it's not like combined, because you two had, like we talked about before, very different
Absolutely.
paths to your placements. So it's way easier to start with Alan. So Alan, you started on the Green Tribe, the Sorrento tribe, and day 1 you won everything. Except one. I think you won 4 out of 5 challenges.
We won everything except for the bug net on day 1.
Yeah. So going into the first day, how did you feel being on a tribe that just kept winning? But also, how did you feel taking all the rewards away from your wife on the other tribe?
Well, coming into the game, I knew no matter what, I wanted to give it my all for the people that I'm working with, regardless of whether that was Kadie or not. And she knew that was going to be part of my game, was I wasn't going to throw challenges. I wasn't going to, give it less than I possibly could. So being right off the bat, even like first meeting our 8, I got the impression, and kind of glancing at the other tribes, that we were one of the weaker tribes. I definitely got that impression. And I'm sure the other colored tribes saw that as well. Brandon, you even said to a couple of our production members, should I have made green a little bit stronger? And so being on that winning tribe was great. Our cohesiveness was awesome. We really all enjoyed spending time with each other. We spent the time away from tribals and having decent meals and being comfortable, getting to know each other and building those bonds that really get you far enough in the game to win. So being on the winning tribes and seeing everyone's strengths made me realize who I wanted to work with. So the competitions and the challenges were really big for me. Like, for example, the puzzles. Ciara was the best at the puzzles throughout the entire game. She was the best. So I wanted to work with her and be very close with her because she would have been a bigger target than me. I thought Rob was a very great competitor, and even though he was looked at as like the quiet social person, I saw him as a great player. Ready to go, very great in challenges, and could possibly be looked at as a bigger target and threat than myself. And that was kind of my game plan, was to kind of surround myself with a bigger target. We spent, a majority of our time really talking and getting to know each other, one another, that first day of rewards.
Cool. Yeah. So I mean, going off what you said, in my preseason interview, I said that I thought Green was going to lose a lot, and I made them too weak. And I was like, oh, why did I do that? And then when you kept winning, I was like, what is happening right now?
It just seemed like every challenge was right for someone in an individual aspect. Like, for example, the fire making challenge. Damien was an absolute monster and I'm pretty sure he just ripped it open with his hands and dumped out the thing and then blew fire with his mouth, and it exploded. Like, it was unbelievable. I mentioned Ciara with the puzzles. We had 4 solid runners in myself, Chris, Rob, and Caitlin. So we really had a well-rounded team for the challenges that were laid out for us. And I think if we had a little bit more time, we could have even gotten the bug net.
Now, Kadie, complete opposite on day 1. You lost every challenge. You didn't get any rewards. You had the bad camp. You didn't get fire. You couldn't make rice. Your tribe was roughing it. So talk about that first day for you, and the dreaded pink camp.
Honestly, the first day with the reward challenges was a bummer, and I feel like, yes, your morale goes down when you're losing and you're not getting the rewards. I do feel like it made us all socially really connected, because we were all really supportive of each other. We never were blaming of each other. There was some drama happening on other tribes, and we were like, we're not going to do that. We're never going to look like that. We're always supporting each other. And as people, I think there was a lot of respect that we had for everyone's game. Like, every vote, even the first couple votes, were very hard because there was no obvious first vote. We all really clicked and connected. And so that was hard to not get the rewards, but we made the best of it. We had like a little tarp on a slant with tarp underneath us. I made it very clear to everyone that I did not like sleeping on the edges. So if someone could, and poor Patrick, like this tall dude in our tribe, is like all the way down. The tarp is like this, and he's like down here. He like can't get up. He's like wiggling out in the middle of the night. I felt so terrible. But that would not have been a good spot for me. So thank you, Patrick. We made the best of it, and we had a really good time. And there was a moment where we made like a little like homey sign of our tribe and put flowers on it. And then we all turned around, all of us that were left, and there was like a double rainbow, and we thought we were the only tribe that was seeing it. And we like had this big moment, like, no, all the other tribes were like eating, and we're roughing it. And we turned around to this rainbow, and then the other tribes were like, we saw it too. And I was like, oh man, they have to steal our thunder.
We saw it over our lake.
Oh, whatever. But the first day, what the reward challenges were a bummer. It was really the second day that was painful, because losing had really brought us together and connected us socially. And then we were like, you know what? This is the day that counts. We're going to go out there and win. And then we didn't. And we had to start really voting people out. And that was a bummer.
Yeah. Now, Stephanie brings up a good point in the comments. The pink tribe was so tight that they even went to the bathroom together.
We looked for idols together. Like, someone on our team was like, let's look for idols. And we were like, in my mind, I'm like, if we find it, what the hell are we going to do with it? So we were super tight, and it was so fun. And part of my game on the pink tribe was giving all of the green tribe, all you winners, these big names so that no one could forget who the threats are. And my game was totally downplaying Alan's game. I'm like, I know Alan is a threat. I know he may be seen as a threat. He can't be seen as a threat before merge. Get him to merge. Let him win a couple of the big individual challenges, because he totally would have. So I'm like, oh, did you see Sparkle Fingers with that fire? I'm like putting Damien under the bus. I'm like, Puzzle Girl is over there, like doing all the puzzles. I'm doing whatever I can. I'm like, what's that guy? Who's that guy with the star socks? What's his name? And I'm making everyone think about who's this kid. We'll just forget about Alan until merge. So that was part of my gameplay on Pink too, was to highlight what was going on in other tribes that wasn't Alan.
Interesting. Now, Alan, you had a similar strategy of like your tribe gave nicknames and Kadie had a nickname and you kept saying, oh, what's her name? Because I remember on Exile
I would
Island.
even say it to you. Yeah, I would even say it to you. You know, like I would say it to everybody, just to throw the scent off, you know, in any way, shape, or form, throw the scent off. I even said to Kadie, you know, after being voted out, I think on the way home, I said another big part of us being able to keep it a secret was Jody and her cousin's relationship and how early that came out. So I was like, there's no way someone else is going to think there's another relationship like that. So I felt like that was completely in our favor, and I was very happy that that was very well known throughout the entire game very, very early.
Yeah, they didn't try and hide it whatsoever. I think
Jody came right up to me and told me, I was like, you're out? What do you mean you're with your cousin?
And then I think Jackie and Angela did the same thing. Or Jackie definitely did. I don't know if Angela said anything.
Angela did not tell us on Pink.
No, so, Jackie told everyone on Blue. So
that's so funny.
So yeah, that definitely that helped you too, for sure.
Yeah.
So we're going into day 2. Let's see. So Kadie, I know you mentioned that there was talk of a girls' alliance. So I brought up Kadie's comment because at one point the girls went to the bathroom together and you were picking raspberries.
Oh, girls' alliance on the Pink tribe.
And then the guys stayed back to start the building the camp. And I remember doing confessionals that first night, and the guys kept saying, you know, the guys all stayed back to build camp, and no one brought up strategy at all. We were just standing there. And I was like, well, what did the girls do?
Yeah.
Right. And I know you mentioned specifically that there was talk of a girls' alliance and that you were not about it. So what went through your head, and why were you not about a girls' alliance on the original Pink tribe?
At that point, I wasn't about it because I felt really connected to a couple of the guys, and I felt really connected to Angela. And I thought in my mind at that point, to me, it felt like Becca was close with Patrick, and that was scary to me. And then I just thought that it was more important for me to have people outside of the girls. So I would say yes to that and go along with it. But that Becca was really in with the guys. And so I felt like if I don't get in with the guys, I'm behind. And I might survive the girls' alliance, but then I'm the first boot next. So I just really didn't think it was good for my game. And then when we started losing, I kicked into overdrive, and I was like, this isn't about alliances. This is about me being close with everyone, because if we keep losing like this, I can't be in anyone's. So at one point, after Crystal was voted out first, I feel like at that point, I was really close with everyone. I feel like the person that scared me the most at that point was Becca, because she was, in my mind, and I don't know if this is real or my mind, obviously close with, it felt like Patrick. And then that day where we voted Patrick out, he was saying things that were kind of solidifying that to me. And I was like, okay, these two can be, you know, Becca. If we get Becca out, Patrick's closer to me. So I knew at this point we were just going to keep losing. So I had to do the order really quick. And then things messed with that order, because then I have Logan, who is the kindest, coolest guy, so quiet. Finally, I've been trying for like 48 hours for this kid to open up to me. Finally opens up to me, and I got an idol at Exile. Okay, you're going to tell me this? Like, oh, sorry, am I getting ahead of myself?
Oh, no, I wasn't sure if he actually told you. That was one of my questions.
Yes. So we're about to vote him out. The vote has landed on him. And he's sitting over in the grass and I feel bad. So I go to just talk, see what's up. And I'm like, I really wanted to work with you. I feel terrible that in my mind that I'm about to vote you out. And he's like, so here's the thing. I feel really close with you. He's finally opening up to me. The vote is on you, dude. I feel really close to you. I want to work with you. Finally, okay, I want to work with you too. So I have some information for you. I got an idol exile. I'm like, okay, that's awesome. That's so cool. So now I'm like, he's only told me we're locked in. I got to save this kid. So then I run frantically to switch the vote onto, at this point, I think
it was Patrick because he was overplaying.
And I did that by going and talking to everyone and being like, Patrick and Becca are super tight. He brought up voting out Becca or Angela. Then I was like, Becca. He's like, no. And it proves that he's really close with Becca. He's got to go. He's a gamer. He's got to go. I switched the vote onto Patrick, I thought. And then last minute, I walk away. Last minute, it switches back to Logan. And I get told this as we're walking into thing. And I'm like, I got to tell Logan to play his idol. I'm his person now. He's just confirmed this with me. We're going to keep losing. I need people that will never write my name down if I tell him to play his idol. But I can't make it obvious because I was also going to vote for Logan so that I didn't blow up my other spot. And he just is smart enough to play his idol. That was my game plan. So I'm like, looking back, I tap his knee at one point really subtly. I'm like, play your idol. Sitting right here and play your idol. I think at one point he looks at me and kind of nods. And I'm like, he fucking heard me. Sorry, my last word. I'm like, yes, he heard me. And I go to cast my vote and I'm like, Logan, I'm voting for you so I don't break up my game right now, but I really hope you heard me. Play your idol. I was devastated when he didn't play his idol. And then afterwards he pulls it out after. I'm like, it's a super idol. Here we go. Like, he's still in. He heard me, but he didn't need to play it. And then I'm like, shoot. So that was a bummer. So that's how the order of that went. Like Crystal, and then I think it was, who was
Logan after? Logan was second.
Oh, it was that early. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that Angela, I was very close with Angela at that point, and Angela was pushing Logan because she had sent Logan to exile, and she didn't like the reaction that he had to exile, which at the time I totally understand why she didn't like that, but knowing Logan more now, I think he's just a shy guy that doesn't know how to express what he's feeling quickly. So I think that vote could have been avoided, but it was too late.
Yeah, so that was actually one of my questions was about the idol situation, because I remember you voting and saying, I hope he plays his idol, and I'm like, oh my god, he's gonna play his idol. Something happened. And then when he didn't, I was like, oh no.
I tried. And thinking back, maybe I should have made it more obvious and said, Logan, play your idol. They're voting for you. But it was only vote 2, and I didn't want to blow up other things, so I couldn't do it.
Yeah, it was very early, so if anyone knew you were a part of that, it would have probably been bad moving forward, especially if you did keep losing just like you did. So then you go to tribal council again and again and again. So the third vote was Patrick. So walk us through what happened that round.
What happened that round was Patrick was before Becca. I was thinking that Patrick and Becca were very close, and that was scaring me. And so I knew one of them had to go, and I think that people were more willing at that point to go Patrick, if I'm remembering this correctly. Also at that point, it was just a terrible thing that we kept losing because I felt really close to Waylon at that point. I was really close with Angela at that point. And I was really close with Alex at that point. We had recently gotten really close. So there was really just no other, we were just dwindling, and it stunk to vote Patrick. I love Patrick.
Echo.
I didn't hear it.
It must be you then. So after Patrick got out, that's when Alex told you about his idol. So what went through? Did you know about the idol prior to him telling the whole tribe about the idol?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
So that's part of where things fell apart with Alex. He told me about the idol, and he told me that he had told one other person, I forget who it was at that point, Angela or Becca. So I was like, great, me and Alex are really close. He's telling me about the idol. And then he told the whole tribe. And I was like, are we as close as I thought? He's telling everyone now. I thought that I was special that he told me that information. And so that was a hard thing. But I felt really close to him and I wanted to keep him around. So are we on his vote? Do you want me to talk about that vote?
Yeah.
So before he got voted out, the vote had landed on Waylon. We were going to vote Waylon, and I didn't want to, at this point, I was really close with Waylon, really close with Angela, and really close with Alex. It was this was a heartbreaking tribal. And I was really hoping that we were going to go 4 strong into whatever swap, and then Waylon's thing bounced off the thing 60 times. It was a painful challenge, and I knew at that moment, my heart sank when we lost that because we could have won that, and the 4 of us were super tight, and I did not want to vote any of them out. It was terrible.
As Green watching, that was the challenge we wanted Pink to win the most because we knew there was something happening soon and we wanted the numbers over Blue. That was a big one. And I didn't know if she was going to make it to a 3 left. I knew that was going to be, I didn't know if she was going to make that one.
I didn't either, honestly, because right after first of all, that challenge was up there with Caitlin's medevac. Like, it was second worst moment of the weekend. Like, it was miserable to watch. It was brutal, as Alicia just said in the comments.
The thing, too, is that I wasn't worried about myself. And I hope that this doesn't sound like overly confident. I wasn't worried about myself because I didn't really think I was going to be the next vote. What I was worried about is that I was getting rid of someone that I really wanted to go far with because I wanted to go far with all those people. And in my mind, and I could be wrong, I can't wait to hear what Angela and Waylon have to say. In my mind, I think that I was close with all those people at that point. Like, I think that I was everyone's closest person, and that's why I wasn't worried about myself. I could be wrong about the Waylon and Angela. I think they got closer after they swapped together. But I was really locked in with everyone, so I just knew this was going to be a terrible vote. And the vote had landed on Waylon. And then me and Alex were talking, because I was really talking a lot of game with Alex, and then he said, is that the right move? Should we split the vote? I'm going to go ask Brandon what happens if we split the vote on Angela and Waylon and make them duke it out for the tie so that we don't have to decide who's going. That's the most fair. And I'm like, Alex, brilliant. The biggest mistake of his game was walking away to talk to you about that because he went to ask you that. And then I have my partner in crime, who I love so much, Angela, coming over in my ear saying, I think it's time to do Alex. I think we need to do Alex, whatever. And I'm like, oh my God. And I just went with it and I felt horrible. It was devastating. And I think that if I kept Alex around, he 100% would have played an idol on me if I needed it. And I think that might have been a really bad move. Angela's really good at what she did. She chirped in my ear for a minute and I was like, all right, we're about to walk to tribal. It's Alex. And I felt terrible that he just walked away to ask that question. But the issue at that point was I was really close with everyone.
Yeah. Now, actually, I didn't notice this looking at the voting chart until you were talking just now. I think you're the only one on Pink who didn't receive a vote in the first portion of the game pre-swap.
That is the craziest thing of all time. She made it to final 3 on a tribe of 8.
Yeah, you went to 5 or 6 tribals and
that's insane.
Never received a vote.
Thanks, guys. It was sad because I liked everyone I voted out. Like, I like to think I am a Survivor fan and I love this game. It gets painful. It was painful. And seeing Green strut into freaking challenges with their little pole with the flowers, I was like, are you guys kidding me? Like, I know this is a game and I love it, but like, I'm voting out people I really like right now. We keep losing. Put away your fucking flowers. Sorry, I'm swearing.
We heard it when Alex talked about Green during that last tribal. So, Alan, pre-swap for you was easier.
Right.
So you kept winning. You kept having to avoid tribal. did your strategy ever change throughout the day? Because you had a lot of downtime with your tribe. And I know, I mean, we kept watching Ciara specifically walk off with different people constantly. But it was always Sierra involved in those conversations. So did your specific strategy ever change throughout the day, or was it always a Jody vote first?
It was unfortunately always a Jody vote first, and I feel like if there was more conversation, because we had a group of five: Ciara, myself, Chris, Caitlin were the four, and then Emily was brought in as like the fifth towards the end, just in case we had to go to a second tribal. So we would have numbers to get either Damien or someone else out. But that the second vote was definitely going to be up in the air for me. But unfortunately, the first vote was always going to be Jody. We knew there were going to be some different challenges coming up that were probably going to be more physical, and she kept sitting out. And Jody never talked game with us ever. We kind of, as a tribe, after the vote, were wondering if she understood the game. We didn't know where her vote was even going to go. She never told any of us, never pulled any of us aside asking what we thought. So it was always Jody in that sense. I loved her. That was an unfortunate vote. So I don't want to call them I had final twos with Ciara, and I think our second challenge, where we had to bring the cup over the balance beam and put it on the ramp, her and I were attached to each other. And as we were running out, I said to her, "It's us two, right? It's us two. We're going." Because I knew she was the puzzle person. I knew I wanted to be close with her, and she was like, "Absolutely, let's go." So I knew I was locked in with Ciara. I also really liked Rob. Rob was not included in the group of four, which I really wanted to work with him moving forward. So I always kind of kept Rob close to me as well. I said to Rob, I think passing like maybe on a bathroom trip or whatever, like, "Hey man, if I hear your name, I will tell you I've got your back," because I now know the numbers. And if they say, I want to have Rob's back. And he was like, "Same, I've got your back too." So my strategy was really to stay in the numbers, to make sure that I was in the know, that I made sure, and everyone really saw Ciara walking off with everybody. And I wanted to make sure that I was a part of those conversations as well. So I would kind of maybe follow in the distance, catch up with her at the end, make sure that I was a part of the group, whether I was or not. That's neither here nor there. But I felt very, very good in where I was. I felt that if we went to 3 tribals, maybe 4, I could have been safe. And then later throughout the second day, I really got to know Chris very well. And I just really clicked with him on a personal level and in a game level too. He was, very, very good game mind. So I wanted to make sure that I talked to Chris too, because I knew I wanted to work with him. And we ended up going to Exile together, but I'm sure that's on your list of things to talk about later.
Yeah.
So we actually never got a chance to talk, Chris and I, until we went to Exile. So, but we'll cross that bridge when we get there.
Now, sometimes in Survivor, a strategy is to throw a challenge. On Original Green, as you were getting closer to like 18 and 16 people left in the game, did your tribe ever think, like, was there ever talk about possibly throwing a challenge to take the scent off Green a little bit at a swap?
No, only because Blue was just as dominant. I don't think people really understand how dominant Blue was too. They were only 1 behind us come the swap. The only reason why green looked so dominant was day one. We lost just as many. I mean, we lost just one less person than blue. So I think in our heads it was green versus blue. Come swap, come merge, we knew it was going to be, and look at the first 4 or 5 members of jury, and that's exactly what it was: green versus blue, and it was green picked off one by one.
Yeah. Now you both made it to the swap, and at that point, I mean, Kadie had survived a lot of tribals. Alan, you survived, a lot of wins. And I was like, ooh, they both made swap. There's a chance they might be on the same tribe. No, didn't happen. And I was like, damn it, this twist is not going to work out. But I definitely had hope. But anyway, so Alan, you went from being in a really good spot on original green to not a very good spot on new green. And then you got exiled the first night, so you didn't really get a chance to talk to anybody on your new tribe. So first, how was Exile Island?
I loved Exile Island. I was very nervous when I was on my way there. When you said all we were going to have was a tarp and whatever pink left, I was like, oh God, am I getting a folded tarp? Now Chris and I have to put this together at 11 o'clock at night after holding bags over our arms for X amount of time. So when I pulled up, when we pulled up to OG Pink, I was very happy with their little lean-to thing, and I think we pulled our bags up, rolled them right away, and said, "Home sweet home. This is great." We knew we'd be dry. Yeah, thank you so much. But so that challenge, across from Kadie, we're actually across from Kadie, holding the bags up, and I'm thinking to myself, like, okay, I'm looking across at everyone who I was aligned with, the 3 people the 3 people I was closest with in Rob, Chris, Ciara, and Caitlin, 4 people.
Mm-hmm.
They're all now on the other side. Damien and Emily and myself never really talked game, so I feel like I'm with the people from green that I never really got too close with until Emily and I were voted out and we got to talk, and I was rooting on Damien throughout the game, but I never really felt like I got very close with them game wise. So I felt like I was very much like, oh no, I'm in big trouble. And with all the blue being on the wrong side of the green swap, I knew I could have been in big trouble. But I was looking over at Kadie and wondering where she was going to be. And I wasn't too sure who she would align with and who she'd want to work with. So that was a really weird moment, holding up the bag. Like, should I drop this? Is it easier for me to get safe than it is for her to be safe? And I thought her chances were much better than mine, and I knew we had to win that challenge. I don't think our green tribe truly understood the repercussions. And I talked to Kadie about this for hours, of Chris taking me to exile. And I also don't think they knew the repercussions of sending Emily to exile.
You lose a vote.
We lost votes, and I had no time. I had no time to talk. I wanted nothing more than to be at that camp, with the camaraderie, eating the food, drinking the Gatorade, the laughs, the inside jokes that I was never a part of, that oh, Kyle, knowing that when I come back for the challenge that, oh, he now has an idol, which I never found because that damn clue was so general, so I immediately had a target just directly on my back. And I don't think I really understood the weight of it until the next morning, waking up from exile, and the time it took, for the challenge to start, or at least the time I thought it took. It just felt like it took where I just didn't have that time. And it came up. That was my downfall. That was
If
my
I
downfall.
remember correctly too, you were awake at like, because I woke up that morning early to find my wallet, and it was like
Mm-hmm.
4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning. So it took forever because you guys were up so early.
Well, that's probably why.
Yeah.
We woke up at dawn. We were looking for idols for hours. We went all the way down to the tribal area and looked down there. Waylon, I may have kept you. Oh, I know, Angela.
I
Ah!
I feel like
We Yeah.
I feel like had you knock on Exile that first night, you would have had the ability to bond with them
I definitely think
I would
so.
have been okay.
more
I think I would have
so
been okay.
more so than Damien. No offense to Damien, but like he wasn't
None.
as social as you.
Right.
And also I think Justin really had it out for Emily. So I feel like if Emily wasn't exiled that next round,
Yeah.
Emily probably would have gone before you, and then you would have had that extra time to
Right.
get to know people.
Right.
But
And my strategy at Exile, I talked to Chris the whole time. I knew since Chris was there and he's now on a tribe with my wife. I talked to him the whole night. I was like, "This is our strategy tomorrow." I was like, "You have to get as close as you can with PG, which is Kadie, Peloton girl. You have to get as close as you can with her, and I have to get as close as I can." I picked Waylon. I picked Waylon as like okay, I think I could bond with him more. Angela, I should have picked you. I'm sorry. I know you're watching. So, but my strategy was we have to get Pink. We have to get Pink. Because I knew Blue was never going to vote for Pink. They're their number. They're our number. They're who's ever number. The whole time I told Chris, get as close as you can with Kadie. She's our key to getting to the end. And the next morning, when we lost that first challenge, the first person I talked to was Angela, and I told her, I said, I see you and Waylon and how you work together with Kadie. And I was like, I would love for Chris and you, myself, and Chris, myself, you, Angela, and Waylon and Kadie to all work together and make it, and go far enough in the game together. And I was absolutely down for that. I would have been if we made it to the first vote, I would have loved working with Waylon and Angela. And I knew Kadie would have been psyched to see that we all kind of survived the vote.
now, follow-up question to that. Did you ever consider
Sure.
telling Angela in that moment that you were married to Kadie?
That was never an option. In my mind, that was never even a last-ditch effort. I didn't know, because I figured if I said, hey, I'm married to somebody who is also playing this game, that would have been the instant, yeah, you're gone. Why are you telling me? So, that to me would have always been a crutch in my game. That was never something I would come out and say.
Okay.
And Angela saying I should have is, hindsight, but I tried hard with Waylon. I tried hard with Angela. And the sad part is I really liked Blue. I really liked Blue too. I loved the guys on Blue that we get swapped with. I would have absolutely worked with Justin or even Albie. I liked those guys a lot with the short time that I got to see them.
Knowing Angela, I feel like 99.999% of the time you cannot tell anyone about our marriage. From what I learned about Angela, which you didn't know because you hadn't played with her, Alan, I believe that she would have been able to stir shit up and keep you somehow. She was just that kind of player that she could have, but you didn't know that she was going to be loyal and do that.
Right.
So,
of course. And my very first conversation with Angela was, hey, guess what? I want to work with you. Blah, 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 blah. Let's vote for Justin. Bye.
right.
That was my first conversation
It might
with
have
her.
made you survive that vote, but then our marriage is out, and then it would have been a target down the line, Right. And Stephanie already knew that was already one too many people.
And like I said, if someone came and asked me, then yes, absolutely. Oh yeah, Kadie, that's my wife, 100%. But that's not forthcoming information that I really wanted to give.
Angela agrees with what Kadie said.
Love you, Angela.
A lot of people do, Angela.
Now, Kadie, you were on the new Pink Tribe, and you were in a completely different spot. I felt like you were in a very good spot on your swap tribe, as opposed to Alan being in a not so great spot. Now, you swapped one. You were with Stephanie, who you knew before the game. Whether that was good or bad, I don't really know. When
Either.
you saw I don't know. So we talked about this before we went on the broadcast, but voting John out that first swap round, I thought was dumb. Not because John wasn't the best player. However, giving the numbers to Green and kind of just letting them do what they wanted, as opposed to keeping your majority and then maybe getting rid of John second. I just felt like it wasn't a good idea.
The game got messy there because I agreed to working with Blue to get Green out. And then Chris came back from exile and we're all talking, and I want to say that I was playing my own game. I was also thinking who was Alan working with. And I started picking up slivers of information that I was with his people. And that was my downfall, to think. Rob was saying, I was like, Rob, who's cool on the other side? He's like, Alan's really cool. And I'm like, well, everyone, it's either Rob or John. And now Rob's telling me Alan's cool. Well, that complicates things. And I was totally down to vote with Blue and to get Rob out. And Sierra and Caitlin had agreed to this. So it was great. And then John, and I love you, John, you're a very loud man. And you took everyone out, raspberry picking, so nice. But you would scream. You would scream. And I don't know if this is game. I don't know if that was your tactic. But so when we first traded, John was in my ear and I loved it. I was all about it. Yes, I'm in. This is good. We're holding bags above our head. And he's screaming at me. What?
Sarah just goes very loud.
He's screaming at me, and I'm like, dude, Green is hearing you. Like, yes, we can talk about voting out Green, but Green is hearing you. So I'm like nodding, but I'm not close enough with John yet to like completely shut this down because I don't want him to think I'm rude. So I'm like, okay, yeah. All about it. And then the next day he takes everyone and their mom raspberry picking, screaming about everyone's. And when he ever said, maybe I'm sensitive, and Kadie, she couldn't balance on that wheel, and she won't win anything. I'm like, all right, John's got to go. He went down the line of people talking crap about all of us, and Sierra, Stephanie, and I are sitting at camp like, okay, Sierra, he's talking about you. And I feel like I played a big part in moving the vote from Rob to John, and I regret it, but I snuggled in between John and Rob the night before to kind of decide what I was going to do. And I was talking with Rob. I love Rob. He was telling me all about Northeastern and his girlfriend and how close he was with Alan. I'm like, okay, shoot, he's close with Alan. So it was not the greatest decision for my game, but here we are, and it happened, and I regret it. But I don't, because I would have gotten rid of one of Alan's people, but it didn't matter because Alan was gone anyway. So
yeah. I mean, I felt like
Brandon.
It was like, I think you should have waited around. I think you should have gotten rid of Rob, then gotten rid of John. That way, you just at least kept the numbers on your side. Because then
Rob was really likable. Rob was really likable.
He is very likable.
A day of voting out likable people that I was obsessed with, to get another likable person and then be like, okay, I'm gonna vote you out too. I was playing with my heart a little bit, and it was dumb. And I was playing for Alan's game, and it was dumb.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like you would have made the merge had that gone differently. You probably, yeah. I feel like you would have 100% made the merge had.
That's so bittersweet to hear. I know. My bad.
Oh well.
Oh well.
Maybe next time. Now, Kadie, when you saw... Oh no, go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, when you saw Green show up without Alan there, what was going through your head?
So when we originally swapped, I got the feeling that Alan wasn't with his green people, and I had a feeling that I was. And I had a feeling that Alan was going to be able to work his magic with Angela and Waylon. So I wasn't really concerned. The second Chris pulled him to exile, I melted because I was like, they're definitely going to be talking. They're going to land on a vote tonight. Alan's going to get back. It's most likely going to be him but then CR and other people, we were like, what do you think's going to happen on their side? And people were saying, I think Alan's good. I think Alan's good. So I was trying to keep my hope alive, but I knew the plan all along was blue and pink teaming up to get green. Alan was the green on exile. I just knew it was going to be slim chances. And it was terrible. And then the next day when they voted Emily, I don't think people were thinking that that's basically like a steal a vote. Like, it doesn't matter who goes, you're stealing a vote. And no one was, I felt like either green on my side wasn't thinking in that way, or they didn't care to lose Alan. And
the issue was Chris didn't want to. Chris lied about about what the first clue said when he came back from exile, because he didn't want blue to know the truth. So what happened was he wanted green to go back to get the second clue. He didn't want blue to get the clue. Actually, when they were thinking about who to pick to go to exile the second time, when they picked Emily, I'm in the back screaming, like silently screaming, blue, blue, send blue. Because I knew if Damien or Emily went, and that's who they were going to send.
And being on that side,
big trouble.
I saw you doing that, and I was like, I can't react to this. People will be wondering why I'm reacting to Alan. And then Green wasn't reacting to it in a way that I thought they fully understood what this meant. If they didn't send blue, they were losing a vote. And by the time it was happening, I couldn't jump in, and it was just, I knew it was going to be bad for you. But then I still had hope. And then when I walked out and you were gone, I had to walk away and pull myself together. And I think I went over to Elaine and I was like, I need a Band-Aid. Can I walk over to get a Band-Aid? She's like, I'll go get it for you. I was like, I need to walk with you. I'm going to cry. I just need to get away for a second. I need to go over and just say I love you to Alan. And it was just devastating because we were so close. And I also wonder if me voting John instead of a green influenced that they felt like on the other side, we have to get green now because the numbers. So I was like, oh, this is just bad all around. But
a big relief for me to know is coming back from exile, talking with Angela and talking with Waylon, and then after the game was over, hearing them say, yeah, it was pretty much made up before you came back. At least I knew that I came back and did it and had at least what I thought a pretty good game plan and how to move forward. And it just wasn't in the cards for me at that moment. I did think that maybe the votes would go to Justin. Justin did say to me, if you do have something, play it. He was very forthcoming. I actually really, really liked Justin and would have loved to work with him. I loved his gameplay. Thought that second was not enough for him. I would have loved to work with Justin. I was going for him first. I think even Brandon, when I voted for him, I said I think it's you or me right now. I think it's you or me, and it was me. So
did you ever consider voting Damien, assuming it would split between you and Damien?
I didn't think they would split it. That was just a complete oversight. When I first saw the Damien votes, I was like, wow, okay, they're not voting me, they're voting Damien. And then I was like, oh my God, they're splitting it.
Would that have mattered if you had voted Damien? Would he have gone?
It would have tied. So it could have been either. It
would have tied.
But it's weird. Also, in that moment, I thought it was smarter to get rid of Damien because you had already been to exile and Damien hadn't. So if you lost again, they could have just sent Damien to Exile Island. So for me, as an outsider, I thought they should have voted Damien out. But
that's what we thought was going to happen.
Yeah.
That's what Green on my side thought.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's see. Where did I leave off? So, Kadie, when you got voted out, you did tell someone that you were married to Alan as a last-ditch effort. So you told Chris. So he and Rob. Okay. So what went through your head about telling them about you being married to Alan? And ultimately, obviously, it didn't work. I feel like it actually solidified you going home. But what went through your head about telling them?
You do? That's so interesting.
Chris's voting confessional that round was, Kadie, you told me that you were married to Alan, but that means you just have to get voted out because you have a good story or something like that.
Oh, I think that he was already gonna vote me anyway. It was my final ditch effort because the challenge before that, the color running blindfolded color thing, I knew if we lost that, I was in hot water because at this point I didn't have the numbers, and I had heard rumors, whether they were true or not, that Sierra was saying my name. And if Sierra was saying my name, she was someone I was going to work with and vote with. So I knew if she was saying my name already and I was hearing that, it was me. And she had the numbers to do that. And I don't know if that's true or not, because then Caitlin said to me later, we were going to stick girls. Why did you flip? Because then I was saying Sierra's name because I heard she was saying my name. So when I felt like it landed on me, I was trying to get Sierra because I thought she was saying me. So right before I knew the vote was on me, so I said, and I knew that Chris and Alan had been closed from exile. So I quickly told him. His reaction was like, I could tell he was like, oh, this is painful. I love Alan. And I thought maybe I got him. But at that point, I knew it wasn't best for his game. He was with Sierra. So why would he do that? And then I told Rob, and he's like, no, what's your son's name? And I was like, Quinn. He's like, ah. So I think I was more stunned him. But that was painful because I'm like, Rob, I just saved you. It could have been you, and I'm getting off you, and now I'm telling you information. I'm working with you. Vote Sierra, man. Like, why? So they both told me they were going to vote Sierra, but I knew walking up there it was 90% me. But I did wonder about that final challenge because our tribe was just so sketchy in that challenge. And I said to Sarah at one point after the game, did you throw that? Because Justin and Sarah were clearly very close. And sorry, guys, but you did not do a good job hiding that. And so I knew she was on our tribe, but I knew that every time she got a chance to, Justin's good at this game. He gives you a glance and you know what he wants you to do. And I was never on the other receiving end of those glances, but I knew Sarah was. So that happened. We lost in a challenge that felt like we might have thrown it as a tribe. Sarah, I'm sorry. That's how I feel. And then Sarah's jumping up and down behind me, communicating with Justin. I'm like, what's going on here? So at that point, I knew I was on the complete outs and I was going to be going. So, and I do want to say one other thing before we wrap up, just about Damien, who I like to refer to as Sparkle Fingers. I love Damien's game. I think he's so charismatic and so good at Survivor and had so much going for him. And Damien, to me, he did not deserve to have no votes at that final tribal based on his game. I think that if Damien had watched a little bit more Survivor before, I heard he hadn't really watched a lot and known what tribal looks like and had been a little bit more of a spokesperson for himself at that final tribal, that man played a great game, and I think he could have had a couple votes. So we had a cool season I thought all three people that were there deserved to be at the end. There was no one there that did not deserve to sit in those final three seats. I just wanted to say that before, if we're wrapping up soon.
Yeah, I felt like his game was very interesting in that, like, I felt like at the beginning he was like, I don't really know what I'm doing. Like, you can vote me out, it's fine. But then he got more into the game as the game went on. And you saw that in the last day when he won the challenges and yes. So he kind of got his groove as it went on. So it was cool to see his story.
So cool.
Yeah.
I
do have. Oh, go ahead, Alan. What were you gonna say?
No. I was gonna say the best jury question I've heard in 30 years of Survivor was Caitlin's. I thought what an incredible jury question. She said, you need 4 votes to win, let's say. What votes do you think you are getting? I thought that was just an incredible question, and I will be using that in any future games where I am lucky enough to make merge. I will be using that question. I think that's very insightful for the people there. So kudos to Caitlin.
Cool. So I have some rapid fire questions. So just the first thing that comes to your mind, I guess. So I'll say the question, and then Kadie, you respond, and then Alan, you respond after. So who's your closest ally throughout the entirety of the game?
Angela and Alex.
Chris and Rob.
The person you wish you met in the game.
Oh, me first.
Yeah.
I think I could have done some dirty stuff with Albie or Justin. I think that I could have played with Justin and been a little bit more secretive about it. And I think that we think strategic. I never even talked to him, but I think we could have had cool game talk.
Cool.
Stephanie, no question. I feel like we could have done some pretty great things.
Okay. Your favorite challenge?
When they carried me around and I won. That was the best thing ever. Like my first win, and I'm just being carried around. Don't really have to do much except for, parade around the thing. And everyone else is like, "Is that cheating?" We're like, "No, it's not." And then people claimed it was cheating, and then they copied us. Like, best challenge ever. Love it.
Even though we lost it, is that the one with the table with the balls on the table?
Was that the same one? No, it was.
I think it's the same one.
But no, it was a different one.
You didn't lose that one.
Oh, different one. Yeah, this one. I like that one a lot. I liked, I've always liked those types of puzzles or games in the shows and stuff. So that was a fun one to compete in.
Okay.
Yeah.
Your favorite behind the scenes moment? So that doesn't have to do with like challenges, maybe just like camp life or like a funny conversation, just a funny behind the scenes moment.
Camp life with a couple of us pinks up at Pink Camp right before we thought we were going to be going to merge. It was me, Angela, Waylon, Alex, and we were just going off on all the green people of Puzzle Girl, and the Fisher was Caitlin, and we were just plotting, and I was exploding everyone else's game except for Alan, and it was so fun. And then just Pink in general, the first day, just telling stories and making each other laugh.
This is going to sound really bad. I really liked the moments with Pink coming back from Tribal and seeing Kadie yet again survive. And we always make eye contact for the smallest little millisecond. And it just like in that smallest moment, I would just been like, hell yeah, like you're still here. So like I liked those types of moments, like seeing that again, she was safe, that the worrying was over. And just ready for another beatdown.
Cool. I guess that kind of goes with it. So I'll skip that one. Would you play again?
100% yes.
1,000% yes. 1,000%.
Awesome.
Yeah.
You put a great game on. This was so fun. So fun. We would definitely do it again. I would definitely do it again.
Thank you. I'm so glad you were both part of the first season. It was so great meeting you. And actually, I don't remember if Kadie did, but during check-ins, I was like, Alan's the only one that hugged me. I love Alan.
I definitely did too.
You did too? Okay. I was like, I couldn't remember, but I definitely knew Alan did. So obviously this was a charity event. So real quick, what charity were you playing for? And do a quick shout out for your charity.
I was playing for juvenile type 1 diabetes research. Great cause. Number one place that does research for type 1 diabetes.
Cool.
And I was playing for Black Lives Matter. There is a ton of positive change that is happening, and I wanted to do what I could. And I thought, playing for Black Lives Matter and Can You Survive was, something I could do.
Awesome. And both of your charities already received their $100 donations.
Yes, they did.
So everyone that got pre-merged, for anyone listening, their charities got $100, and then it progressed up from there. So is there anything I missed? Any last thing that you guys want to talk about that I maybe didn't ask about or you didn't get to talk about before we wrap up?
If I had just pulled out the green marble at Swap, our story tonight could have been a little different. There's so many what ifs, but what it was really fun. And I know this world is getting smaller and smaller for us by the moment, but I hope that we can play together again, Alan, because we've played in now 2 games together, one online and one live. And doing a live game and making merch together would be really cool.
Yeah.
We're going to have to go in hiding for a little bit first.
Yeah. Yeah. Just for me, not just Brandon, but for all of production, everyone involved, spectacular. The experience was amazing. I mean, we talk about it all the time. I close my eyes and I just picture the woods, and I picture that spot. And, it was something I'll never forget. And it really gave me the itch to do it again. And I really do want to do it again. This is a really fun world, and you put on a great show. You put on a great show, and I was happy to be a part of it.
Awesome.
Yes,
well,
thank you so much, Brandon.
Thank you guys. It was so much fun. Already planning next year, which is in my last few notes. So Can You Survive 22 is already in the works. We already have a weekend booked. We're already planning. We already have the twists. Like, I am ready. So applications will go out on November 1st, and they'll last for November and December. We'll be casting in January, which is earlier than last year. The game will be in June. It's going to be 5 days instead of 4 days. So you'll have that extra day in the game. So anyone who is listening and wants to apply, look for applications starting in November.
Count us in as volunteers. We would love to volunteer and help out any way we can.
Yeah, definitely. You can definitely come up and help out. It's going to be in the same location, so we're going to be in the same spot as last year. So it'll be fun to, walk to paint camp again. Make sure to follow Live Reality Games on Facebook if you don't do that already. Make sure to subscribe to them on YouTube. Follow all of their content. They do interviews for a lot of different games. They cover a lot of different live games, and they're all really fun. So make sure you do that. And that is that. So thank you, Kadie and Alan, for being the first post-game interview for Can You Survive 2021. And see you later.
Thank you.
Thank you, Brandon.
Bye.
Bye-bye.